All right, guys, welcome to On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. We are extremely excited about tonight. Well, this is our first episode of our archery launch week for our podcast. We have Jarrett, elite archery pro shooter and member of the U.S. Archery 3D team, here with us this evening. And I have Dave Young and I have Dan Hall that's having some technical issues, but he keeps coming in and out. So we're going to go ahead and get started. How you doing, Jeremy?
Doing good. Doing good. How about you?
Man, we're doing amazing. I am so excited to have you on here this evening. I know you just came back from over in Italy on a big trip over there with the U.S. team. But we wanted to start off talking about, we were talking earlier about you doing a move and kind of like a relaunch with your business there in Alabama, Mountain Outfitters. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we found a different location to move to. Pretty excited about it. It's in a pretty good area. The main thing we're focusing on with this move is to attract more youngsters to archery, and we're going to be moving the shop to St. Clair County. It's a town called Asheville, Alabama. We'll be just a bit closer to Birmingham there, but St. Clair County has the biggest following of the archery in the schools of anywhere in the state. So we're going to be embedded right in the center of that county where a lot of youngsters are doing archery and things like that. And the main move of the new business is not just to have like a bow hunter pro shop, kind of like George Riles Archery Learning Center in Georgia. We're going to do more of an archery academy as well as having a pro shop for bow hunters and target shooters and such. So, during the week, certain evenings of the week, we'll have leagues for young people to come and get involved in archery and learn more and get private lessons from us. And I've got a lot of people on board to help out. I have a couple great shooters that represent our shop that's going to be able to come in and help these youngsters a lot as well. And so we're just real excited to do that. A young lady that I coach, she is going to be on board there, learning as much as she can learn and try to help some of these youngsters and do some coaching and lessons herself. She's very, very talented, and her family and us have just gotten really close over the years. And her dad's actually one of my best friends, so we're all just going to kind of work together and kind of make this just not just a ordinary archery shop, but a place that you can come as a family and learn archery together. And so we're looking forward to it. We're hoping we can be in there operating by the 1st of November. If anything, happens to delay us, then we might wait and open and launch maybe a little bit different time frame, like maybe after Thanksgiving or something. But right now, we plan on doing this probably the 1st of November. I would like to be out of my current store by the end of October. So we'll just have to see how things go and how business is at the current location. I don't want to just walk out when business is great, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what we end up doing. We're excited
Man,
about it, though. We really are.
that's some great news that you're going to have the archery school there for the kids. That's the future of our traditional archery shooting and hunting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. We've been planning it. It's been planned for a long time. Just finding a location was really tough, and we had actually given up on being able to move, but with we actually it's kind of funny how we found this building. We actually just went out driving around one evening. We all met for supper, and then we went driving around, and we actually drove to Odenville, Alabama, to look at a couple locations there, and we went and looked at them and weren't real happy with them. And
Yeah.
we come back into Asheville where we had given up on before, and this building's sitting there vacant, and so we called a fellow we know there that's actually a city councilman, and he he found out who owned the building and got us a name and got us in touch with who we needed to get in touch with. And so I met the guy there and just 30-minute conversation and looking around inside, and we decided this is what we're going to do. So it was pretty awesome, man. It really was. It kind of worked out good and everything. So we're going to start doing what we need to do on the inside of it next week, and start just a little bit here in the evenings and on the weekends, and
Yeah.
hopefully be ready to make a move. Spend one weekend moving from the current location to that location, and then that following Tuesday, hopefully be able to open the doors.
Yeah. Now I've followed your all's Facebook page there. You all have a following over 2,500 or so. What all do you all offer in the shop? I know you do Bowtech and things like that.
We actually don't do Bowtech. We're probably going to look at Bowtech at the new location.
Okay.
The offering of kids equipment they have is pretty neat. But right now we're just kind of cruising with our current lines. Elite is our powerhouse line. We sell the most of Elite than we do anything else. And we do a lot of
in regards to Bowtech, I was mainly speaking on just technical working on the bows and things. I wasn't actually talking about the
Oh, I
brand.
thought you
Sorry.
meant the company. Yeah.
No,
So
definitely not
we
the company.
do any kind of work. We can do anything you need done to a bow. We do private lessons. We have a string machine. We can build strings. We also are a dealer for a couple of string manufacturers. Um, so we can do just about anything. I can do anything from just basic tunes to getting a guy out the door where he can go kill a deer, to we can tear cams apart and put new bearings in cams. We do it all. We can do anything.
Yeah.
We tell
Now
everybody, bring it. We can do anything.
I hear you. Now there for a while you was building your own strings, was you not?
I was there for a while. I actually had a string business several years ago, and it's kind of funny. I really just, the time it took, I just kind of got tired of doing it, to be honest. And
Yeah.
when gas bowstrings came along and Eric Griggs got it going and everything, it didn't take long to realize that's the direction I wanted to go.
Yeah.
The knowledge that's there with Eric and everything, it's unmatched, really, to be honest. And
Yeah.
and Leah and I are really happy to be a part of that company. Super good quality stuff. I tell everybody, and you hear people complain all the time. Well, these are better than these. These are better than these. Listen, I can assure you that they're good because I build great strings.
Yeah.
So,
I hear you.
so they're doing a lot for archery. They actually are a sponsor of USA Archery, so we were able to get the gas logo put on our jerseys to go to Italy, and I've spent some time at Gas Bowstrings in the past, and it's just super facility. It's unmatched equipment to build strings on. I mean, there's state of the art everything, and most of it's designed by Eric himself. So we're pretty excited to be a part of that, and watch that I've actually gotten to watch Eric's company grow pretty big, and it's been a blessing. I don't know if I think I mentioned this to Eric, but I'm not sure. But it's kind of cool, man. Eric and I are I think the same age, and we shoot together now. But Eric and I shot together in Flatwoods in 1994 when we were in youth class, and now we still compete against each other, but in the Open Pro division.
Oh, you're kidding.
Eric's probably one of the few shooters I have literally spent my entire career shooting with.
That's crazy. That's awesome to
know. And just in 5 short years, I mean, we'll be old enough to go to the senior pro class. And I tell everybody all the time, it'd be cool to someday shoot senior pro with Eric and be able to say, hey, we've shot together since we were young adult class. So
Man, that's
yeah, it's
crazy.
pretty good, and it's always I've always looked at Eric's dad was, I mean, just a Hall of Famer. You might as well say Roger Greig's one of the best guys I ever met, and
Mm-hmm.
he had the relationship with his dad like I have with I had with my grandfather.
Yeah.
When I lost my grandpa and Eric lost his dad, we literally lost our best friends, and we've
Wow.
talked about that before, and you know where my grandfather could see me now and where Roger could see Eric now, it would just be really cool, and so it's kind of we had some things kind of happen that kind of related to each other. So, but Eric's a good friend. He's a good dude. I if he called me right now and said, "Hey, will you drive up this week and help me build strings?" I would do everything I could to go up and help him if I needed to.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, you talking about building those strings and it just getting old. There's several different call companies that well, not actual call companies. There's several different individuals that build calls for other call companies. There's a lot of companies out there that private label their stuff, and I'm talking about guys that build 60, 70, 80,000 mouth calls a year, and they get to a point to where they're just like, I'm tired of doing this. And it gets them to a point to where they don't even want to turkey hunt anymore. It's what you do from daylight to dark sometimes. I mean, you're talking about guys that have piles of turkey calls on the table that they're building that's a foot and a half, 2 foot tall.
Yeah,
So I
maybe
know,
maybe maybe they just need Uncle Si to do their reads. What do you
yeah,
think?
maybe. I don't know, but
It's a
uh,
balance. You really have to balance it.
yeah, it is.
I always said if tournament season started in November, I would probably quit because by the time November rolls around, working on a bow is the last thing I want to do. But it's not true. I
Yeah,
mean, if it's your passion, it's kind of like the old saying: if your work is something you enjoy, it's not work. So
yep,
um,
that's right.
I enjoy what I do, and I'm not perfect at it, but nobody else is either. So I don't
Yeah,
have to. That's something that you'll never have to compete against. That nobody else is perfect, and
yeah,
I heard Levi Morgan say one time. That's the thing about shooting archery that's so frustrating. You'll never master it. Never.
yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can miss that target at any time. You can misjudge that target at any time. You can miss that X at Vegas at any time,
Yeah,
and it's a game that's super hard to master. I mean, you can shoot to the top of your game for a month straight, and then for the next 2 weeks you can't hit nothing. It's a slump, just like a baseball player hit 20 home runs, and then for the next 3 weeks get two singles.
oh yeah,
You just
yep.
hit a slump,
If if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
It's exactly right.
And I've heard a lot of people say that. And my brother Tim, you know Tim well. He had a passion for turkey hunting, and he'd been making turkey mouth calls since he was 16 years old. And when he passed away, it was up to me to I had seen him make them calls, and I'd seen him do those things by hand. And he done everything by hand. I have a call press now because I tried to do it by hand, couldn't do it by hand. I mean, he just had so much experience in it that he could do it. But he wanted to move forward and progress to a call press later on, so we just sped that up a little bit. But I mean, now that we have the call press, we can have every call made the same to the same pressure every time. So it's really good. So let's
Yeah,
go
and
back into go ahead. Sorry.
that's kind of like these string things. It's always a big thing about strings. You'll hear people. Everybody's always got something bad to say about somebody's strings or good to say about somebody's strings, and I don't want to turn this into a string podcast, but I will tell you this: the materials that are made nowadays and the machines we have to build bowstrings on, it's kind of like you talking about your turkey call press. it's really hard to mess up. It's really hard to mess up. Uh, I mean,
Yeah.
certain people look for certain things, but if I got a string it doesn't stretch and the servings don't separate and my peep comes straight back, I really don't care about anything
Yeah.
else.
Yep. So we'll take a break here, and we'll be back in just a second. This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Backwater Truck Supply, located at 100 Armor Creek Road in Nitro, West Virginia, right across from the Town and Country Supply. Contact them today at 304-610-8699 or check them out at backwatertrucksupplywestvirginia.com. Backwater Truck Supply specializes in accessoring your ride to your liking, new or old. Does your Jeep or truck need lifted or leveling kit installed? They've got you covered. New tires or minor automotive repairs? They got you covered there as well, with a full-service lift along with a wheel balancing machine. They are affiliates with some of the top brands in the automotive industry. Contact them today at 304-610-8699 or check them out at backwatertrucksupplywestvirginia.com. All right, guys, we're back on the limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. We've got Jeremy Jarrett here, elite archery pro shooter and member of the U.S. Archery 3D team. So, Jeremy, during the break, we were kind of talking about youth archery and different things like that, but I kind of want to go into some of our talking points that we had. We'll hit back on those here in a little bit. We was talking before the podcast about your archery arrow change that you had. You've shot a bunch of different arrows in your career, and you started out with Easton. That was while you were with Hoyt, correct?
Yes.
So you had started out with Easton, went to Gold Tip, and now you're with Black Eagle. So tell us about how that process went.
Yeah. It was kind of cool. I mean, I don't think it's ever bothered me at all to tell somebody, hey, I want to go a different direction, but it was really tough with Gold Tip. But so basically, you know, over this past year especially, it was kind of on our mind to possibly make a change. And I sell Black Eagles in the store, and just noticing the quality that comes in those arrows it's unmatched. Even their mid-grade arrows, I was noticing some of their mid-grade arrows that they make. Arrows are usually sold in thousands of straightness. You got 5,000, 3,000, 1,000 for Pro Series type arrows. And I sell them mostly in my shop. I sell mostly like the 3,000 straightness,
Mm-hmm.
and and I just noticed that those particular arrows were a lot better quality than some companies match grade 1,000s, whatever.
Oh, really?
So after selling arrows like that for so long, and you're in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, man, what makes these better?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I feel these are better? Some other
Yeah.
people might not agree with me. That's fine. I don't I don't expect everybody to agree on that theory, but any time that you get that in your mind and you're thinking about it and you're seeing results from other shooters that are using this type of stuff, it makes you think. Jack Wallace said one time, the worst feeling in the world is look at your competitor beside you and think that he has better goodies on his bow than you do. So, I mean, it's something that can get in your mind.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
So after researching and trying some different Black Eagle shafts, in the past couple of months, just researching with them in the shop and everything. I just thought it would be a good match for us to go that direction, and they're doing so much for archery, it's unreal.
Yeah.
The owner of Black Eagle, Randy Kitts, is top notch. He's a great guy, and they do a lot of the tournaments. They're there and doing a lot of support and everything. So I just thought it was a good move for us, and so far it's been okay. They make a lot of smaller spine arrows for someone like Leah to shoot. With Leah's arrows are very short, so with her arrows being so short, she needs a weaker spined arrow for her setup. Her arrows are only like 22 inches long. I mean, that's the same length as Barnett crossbow bolts. So,
wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, cutting an arrow down that short obviously stiffens it a lot. And so they have some good arrows for her to pick from and everything and the weight that she needs. She's not going to, she doesn't want to pull a lot of poundage. She can. I mean, she pulls 56 pounds and she's got really small and shouldn't have to pull that. So, it was just a good move. We still sell gold tip in the shop. I won't talk anybody out of buying gold tips.
Yeah.
I tell everybody I won't talk nobody out of buying gold tips, but I will talk people into buying Black Eagles. So
I hear you. Yeah. I would say it has a lot to do with just the mass quantity that they sell as well. I mean, the size of company that Easton is and Gold Tip compared to Black Eagle, do they cater more to the 3D archery guys than just your average person?
I wouldn't say that. I just feel like, building good arrows is one thing. Your quality control department's another thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people can build the same quality stuff, but if one's quality control department is better than the other, they're going to be shipping better stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if Ford has 9 people quality control checking trucks and 3 of them let stuff slide, then every now and then a guy's going to get a lemon. But if you've got 5 guys in there that go over it with a fine tooth comb, you're not going to get many trucks out the door that are going to be lemons. So I just feel like quality control's where it's at. And I'm not knocking anybody else's quality control. You can't have bad and get where all these companies have got. But Black Eagles is pretty top. It's pretty good stuff. I
hear you.
I've never had to cull arrow shafts out of a bundle of a dozen of arrows with Black Eagle, selling Black Eagles in my store.
Wow. That's good to know. I've heard a lot of good stuff about Black Eagle. So
hard to beat a Black Eagle carnivore just to go shoot some critters with.
Yeah, that'd probably be my next purchase. I'm due for a dozen myself. So, any other partners and sponsors that you've been with in the past that you've left and maybe went back to? So how's that kind of work in your industry?
Yeah, so this year, one of the big things for the past few years, I've shot a couple different scopes on my bow. I've tried. There's, this industry's flooded with scopes, and a lot of them are good. I think a lot of them depend on the lenses you put in them. We shoot clear target lenses. We feel like those are probably some of the best lenses out there. Rick Ferguson just does a phenomenal job with that business. He retired optometrist, so if you have a question, he can actually shoot you a straight answer. He knows what you're talking about. If your eyes are doing something weird, he knows why they're doing that. But there's some other great companies out there too. I'm not on here to bash anybody. I actually have a really good friend that I turn to sometimes for advice on lenses and seeing and eyeballs and all that. I have a good friend, Chuck Cooley, in New York. I've picked his brain a lot over the past couple of years. He actually helped my wife a lot on the phone talking about, how the eyes work and how the lenses work and everything. But, there again, you look at clear targets and how they are into supporting archery and everything. I love this. I love to support people who supports our sport.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll if you have a trailer set up at every tournament, I love trying to support that.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I always try to look at and try to partner with, and also products I can sell in the store as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, talking earlier, you just got back from Italy with the U.S. archery team, and we were talking a little bit before the show. There was some pretty difficult terrain over there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'd say you'd be hard pressed to even find a mountain goat that wanted to live there. Uh, yeah, it was tough, very challenging. They do 3D a little different than we do.
Yeah.
A little different targets. Um, a lot of angles, a lot of steep angles, a lot of bad, horrible footing, just a lot of everything, and it was challenging. It really opened the eyes of some of us that'd never been, and
Yeah.
with the compound men's team, we had three guys that this was our first time making the team and getting to go. So it was kind of an eye opener for all of us. But we just and I'm just speaking for us three because we've had the conversations and talked about it. But we can't wait to go back and try out again and try to get on the. We would love to get on the team together again and give it another shot, but
Yeah.
train a little different for it. But man, I couldn't have asked for better teammates. Bill Lewis, I've known for years. We've competed a lot against each other and with each other, and he's just a super guy. And if I had to pick a team leader out of the three of us, it would probably be Bill. He's just he's never down about he wanted all three of us to do good.
Yeah.
And then being on the team with Landon, Landon's 16 years old, and this was his first appearance there. And man, I just him and his dad was along with us. Him and his dad actually flew with Leah and I from Atlanta to Rome. But I mean, us three were just it's just a great pack, man. We just got along good. We wanted each other to do well, and it was a good experience, and that was my first time ever being on a trip or being around Coach D much, and
Yeah.
I grew mad respect for him, and I've
Uh-huh.
already talked to him about working a little bit with him, um, but if I needed him, he was there. If I had questions, he was there. If I would have had trouble with my shot, he'd have been right there. So I really enjoyed it. You're spread out from a lot of your teammates, and you don't get to spend a lot of time talking and getting to know one another, and so it's not we're not always real close knit and together, but
Yeah.
you know. Being at the hotel and everything, you get to spend some time together. Some of the shooters didn't stay at the host hotel, but some did. We got to eat together and fellowship together, and we actually shared our hotel with Ireland, Germany, and Croatia,
Oh, wow.
and we met some of the best. I literally can say those three countries have some of my best archery friends already. We have all kept in touch with each other since we've left. We've all
Mm-hmm.
talked about how much we missed each other. It was all hugs goodbye. I probably spent more time. I probably spent more time with the Croatia guys than anything. I love those guys, man. We got to be really close. We had fun, um, and you could tell a huge difference. When you weren't shooting and you were hanging out at the venue with all the countries together, you could
Oh, yeah.
just tell a huge difference. It was a lot different than when we get done with our round at an ASA or an IBO. Everybody's back at the tournament village, and we're
Yeah.
all hanging out, talking. People, if they didn't shoot real good, sometimes they're not talking as much, or a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people just get in the car and leave and don't fellowship much. But man, the atmosphere here was just so much different, and by that I mean, and just everybody wanted to fellowship with each other and talk, and we got to make some friends that are just, it is unreal. I mean, it's kind of weird too. I've already woke a few of my buddies up because I keep forgetting they're 8 hours ahead of us. So I'll be texting them or calling them. I'll be, wait, it's 3 a.m. where they're at. So
Yeah.
So yeah, it was awesome though, man. It was the coach for Croatia. We sat and talked archery so much and everything, and just got to be really good friends. And I shot with Klaus Bitterman from Austria, and man, what a guy! We hit it off so much, and Klaus really touched my heart, man, when he come up to me after we shot our first round, and he come up to me, and I'm not going to lie, man, I struggled bad in them mountains, and Klaus come up, man, and he gave me a hug, and he said, man, in Austria we consider you a fighter. He said, I didn't think you'd make it today, and he said, man, you proved me wrong, and he said, you really inspired me shooting today. And man, when he
That's
told
awesome.
me that, it was just, and Claus and I, we buddied around, talked all week. We've been Facebook messaging and everything, and a couple of the guys from Germany that I got to know really well. One of them is Attila. He's from Germany, and he is a tattoo artist. He owns a
Oh, really?
tattoo. He owns a tattoo studio. Um, I about got him talked into coming over, flying here to Birmingham, and going to the opening ASA tournament in February with me. I told him, I said, man, you hop on a plane and get here, and I'll take care of the rest. I'd love to have you. So, I think I've about got him talked into coming over and shooting in February. Hope so. We hope we made some
Yeah.
relationships and invite them over and shoot some too. I tell you, man, if
Oh,
they
yeah,
come over
definitely.
and shoot ASA, they'll be spoiled compared to climbing the mountains they got to climb to play 3D. But that's
Yeah.
just that's how they shoot, man. That's just how they do. And but it was really funny that a lot of them would sit around and pick your brain about bow hunting because they can't. A lot of those countries can gun hunt, but they're not allowed to archery hunt.
See, I've
Really?
heard
They
it
can't
backwards
archery hunt.
before. I've never
You
heard
can
that before.
use you can use
Wow.
firearms, but you cannot use bows. So not in Europe, brother. Not in Europe. You can no. It's
Wow, that's crazy.
more firearms than archery. So uh, and
Oh,
they're in
that's surprising,
countries and
actually.
and they're all in countries that also have very very tight gun laws as well.
Yeah.
So um, yeah, we were walking around like 2 days before we left or something, and we actually found an ammunition store in Italy. Blew me away. And I walk in and I look on the shelf, and of course most of the it was mostly shotgun shells, and it was mostly Fiocchis because obviously we're in Italy.
Yeah.
And I looked
Yeah.
down on the shelf, and
That's what I was
there's
gonna
like
say, Fiocchi.
Fiocchi was mostly what was on the shelf, and I look down on the shelf, and I'm thinking I'm seeing dollar signs of like how I could take all this home and like sell it, and but there was a shelf sitting there behind the counter. There was a shelf sitting there behind the counter of this Italian guy that had this ammo shop, and there was probably 70 boxes
Wow.
of 410s, and I'm thinking, man, America
Oh
would like
Oh
my
to
gosh,
have
you could charge
goodness.
seven.
thousands of
I,
dollars.
and I'm thinking, wow, if I could get these 70 boxes home, what are these worth? Oh yeah, because they were
Yeah.
only like 10 euro. They were only like 10 euros a box. That's only like $11 in American money. And you're talking about, and they were
Holy
like the
moly.
3 inch. They were high brass 3 inch number six shot 25 round boxes too. I mean, you could sell those for like
Oh,
$40 a
man.
box. I mean,
Yes, you
yeah, they
could.
he literally had 1,000 rounds or more of 410 shells, all Fiocchi. So they
Goodness
they
gracious.
they obviously service the stores in their country before they ship it here. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it was
Man,
pretty
I tell
neat.
you,
He had everything you would want.
the camaraderie and stuff that you gain with being on the world stage like that with other countries is unmatched, really, man. I mean, that's awesome that you got to do that.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. I really really enjoyed that part of it as well. I have said a couple times, if this rolled around again, and let's say Leah made the team and I didn't, I'm still going. I would still go with her to watch her, to be there to see everybody. I mean, the fellowship was unreal. There was, I'm not going to ball out anybody, but there was a couple countries there that didn't really want to talk to us much, but everyone else was just phenomenal.
Yeah, and I can see that. I mean, but that's awesome that there was probably more than that wanted to than didn't want to, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. There was. And I will add this also. If you're going to go to
Is the
Italy
pizza
for
amazing?
11 days, you better like pasta.
I think it's called a pizza over there, though.
Man, let me tell you something. You ain't gonna believe this. The pizza, the pizza I had there was horrible. It would not hold a candle to some of the pizza here. It wasn't that good. Now the pasta, it was all right, but uh, we ate some pretty good meals. The best things are the desserts, man. They believe in pastries and dessert for breakfast. I never was so glad to get home though.
Mm.
Man, they don't
best
do
Italian
bacon,
food
eggs,
I've ever
biscuits,
had.
and gravy
It was
in Italy for
homemade
breakfast.
sausage.
You mostly get croissants
the
and
lady
pastries.
was full-blooded Italian. She
Yeah,
took like
yeah.
an entire week to make the sausages, and it was like the sauce and stuff. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was good, but I'll be honest, man. Some of it was very, very good, but the rest of it, I just assume head to Charleston and go to Fazio's, man.
Did they actually call it pizza over there? Or did they call it pies?
No, they mostly called it pizza, but man, they don't do pizza like we do. When I order a pizza, man, I want all the meats and some extra cheese, man. I want the meat lovers, man. And man, I don't want mozzarella with spinach and artichokes, man. You know, I don't want stuff on a pizza I can't pronounce. So, but yeah,
Us old country boys from West Virginia want the meat.
Heck yeah, man! I want the meat lovers.
Yeah, I remember when I went to Israel, the only thing you
give
could
me
get
the
on a
bacon,
pizza
the sausage. I want whatever's going to give me a heart attack.
That's it. Nothing else. I know. I was like, I don't even want pizza. Forget it. I'll eat the local food.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Olives go where White Claw goes, down the sink.
Yeah, see, I like olives, but I don't like White Claw. No way.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about. Actually, let's take a break, and we'll be right back. This segment of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by AMG Network Hosting, LLC, a national independent agent for most major telecommunication service providers. If your business is in need of internet, phones, credit card processing, let AMG Hosting help you compare options. They work with over 100 national carriers, and they can help you choose the best option for your needs. Our independence means we are loyal to our customers, not a brand or a company. Call us today at 304-608-3653 or visit us at amgnhconsulting.com. amgnhconsulting.com. Phone number again is 304-608-3653. AMG Network Hosting, LLC. All right, guys, welcome back to On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. We've got Jeremy Jarrett here, elite archery pro shooter and member of the U.S. Archery 3D team. So, Jeremy, we got just a couple more questions for you. We won't try to hold you up any longer tonight. It's getting kind of late there. And, well, it's getting late here in West Virginia, not so much in Alabama because y'all are an hour behind. But we wanted to talk about all the support and stuff that you had from people around West Virginia and just really everybody around the country when you went to Italy with the U.S. team. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've got some friends back home that I haven't had the opportunity to actually tell them thanks, but some of them might listen to this podcast later. But um, I have some really good friends that messaged me, checked on me, see how we were doing, shared stuff on their Facebook, just followed everything, and was really concerned about how everything was going, and everything. And man, it meant so much to know that. Nowadays I keep a pretty small circle, and I have a few close friends that I talk to a lot and hang out with. But for the most part, I just kind of, I guess I've become a little bit more of a loner and just kind of just hang back, and but I had a few friends back home that were really really supportive about everything. And I even had one man, my one friend, man, he's something else, man. And his name's Robert Cutlet, man. He got my flight number. He asked me for my flight numbers so he could watch me on Flight Tracker going and coming.
That's funny.
And he actually said I flew when we left Atlanta. He actually said we flew right across Sutton Lake.
Oh, really?
And he took a picture outside of his house of a plane way up in the sky, and he swears that plane was us.
That's funny.
He was watching Flight Tracker when that plane went over his house, and he took a picture. And I think he posted on his Facebook. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, him and my friend Travis, always kept up with me, and when I got over there, I just wanted somebody to talk to and just share a little bit about my trip and some mental struggles I was going through and everything. And I have a good friend in Flatwood, Shane Oney. I mean, that's my go-to, man. When I need to talk to somebody and I need my mental game worked on, or I need to really vent about what I'm going through and how I'm trying to better myself, or what I'm trying to do to try to, get through what I'm getting through. It doesn't have to be archery. It can be anything.
Yeah.
Shane's my man, and that's who I call. And he's always there for me. There's never a time that he doesn't sugarcoat me. He shoots me straight. He's not afraid to hurt my feelings if he has to, but at the same time, he's a big help. And so
those are the best kind of friends, the ones that can give it to you straight.
Yeah. So I called Shane while I was over there, and he was a big influence to me because I was a little lost there for a little bit, and he really helped me. And then, our coach of our team, D, he just amazing. If I needed to vent about something or talk about something, D would be there. And I don't trust a lot of people if I'm struggling. I have a couple people that I do trust, and after this trip, I can tell you that I trust D.
That's awesome.
If I'm struggling with shooting, or if I'm having trouble with something or anything, I'm probably going to call D. I'm probably going to go work with D, and just we had a lot of the same. When you can open up about everything in life and not just archery, but that's who can help you with the archery. It's kind of cool. We could sit and tech talk archery 1 minute and then talk about cooking on the grill the next. We could talk about anything. And so that was pretty cool to be able to. I needed that week with D to, just be with somebody that's on a different level as far as I am, being a competitor. He's a coach, and there's a big difference. He made a great point. He said something this week that just really hit home, and he's totally right. He said, just because you're good at archery don't mean you know a lot about archery. and just because you know a lot about archery don't mean you're good at archery. It can work both ways.
Yeah.
And I feel like even at my age and as long as I've been doing this, I don't feel I'm as good, not near as good as I was 20 years ago, but my body's 20 years older. And I'm not, I don't get up every morning and drink 13 eggs raw and go CrossFit twice a day either. So I don't think none of the four of us do really. I don't know. I might be wrong, but Dave's looking pretty buff there, but I don't know. But anyway, but
sorry, I was muted. I just started up with the Bowflex, man. I'm
the
feeling pretty good.
Bowflex. Oh man, haven't heard about one of them for a long time.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Yeah.
I've been wanting one for years, and a friend of mine just gave it to me for free. So I set it up, and I've been starting it. So
yeah, that's the cool thing with that though is you when you go and you have bad performances and things, it does bother you, but you know what you got to do to get better, and I know what I got to do to get better, and I'm already starting that journey, and
that's awesome.
And so it's one of those things where how bad do you want it, and it's not. I told somebody yesterday. I said this is not shooting a bow's not easy. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, everybody would be good. And they're like, well, everybody is pretty good. And I said, no, they're not. I own an archery shop. Trust me, everybody's not pretty good. Everybody thinks they're really good. but yeah, it's the resources we do have now. Tim Gillingham and I talked about this for a long time at a tournament one time. The resources that are out there now for some of these young shooters, the outlets you have to get better, and I'm talking working on your stuff, building the perfect arrow, building strings, tuning bows, learning about how different bows work. Man, when I was 13 years old, I couldn't go on YouTube and learn that.
No.
I was raised in the mountains of Braxton County, West Virginia, man. Who I go call to get help with archery? I learned it all. I had to learn as much as I could. I gathered a little bit here and a little bit there, and I had some older guys in the club that threw me a little bit here and a little bit there. But man, I mean, we didn't have all the outlets they have now. I mean, I don't even think when I shot archery we had MySpace. I mean, I had a phone in my house that when you dialed the phone number, it was.
Me too.
Kids nowadays don't know how to use them though.
It took you 10 minutes to dial a phone number.
And when AOL. Yeah, and when AOL come out, well, I mean, it took you 32 hours to connect.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it sure did.
So you didn't have the resources you have now. These kids now have so many resources. I mean, I know kids that get into archery and they're national champions 2 years later. And it's just are they good? Yeah, they got good, but the resources they have now is unreal. I mean, there's a series. There's a series, back to with Tim and Gold Tip. There's a series on YouTube where he basically teaches you to build the perfect arrow. There's series on YouTube that look at the tuning stuff that people like Chris B, John Dudley, those guys put stuff on there, and does that work for everybody? Does everybody want to listen to them? Well, no. But a lot of people do, and they learn how to work on their own stuff.
That's one thing I was wanting to ask you is you're talking about everything being the same and with your arrows and stuff like that with Gold Tip. With those Black Eagle arrows, how consistent are they with sending every arrow pretty much the same? I know you're not going to get them all the same, but when you get a full, complete pack that's already fletched, ready to go, how close are they to being pretty much exact?
To find one that's off, you would probably almost have to put your bow in a hooter shooter to find it. But I cut it. I cut an inch off the back of the arrow and the rest off the front. They'll all spin.
Wow.
They'll all spin great.
That's crazy.
And I just do that to know for my own security that I squared both ends myself.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a big thing with archery shooters in the 3D world. You want every arrow to be the same. That's why every archer, almost everybody you talk to, fletches their own arrows. They won't let nobody else do it.
And that's why you shoot every arrow. You shoot every arrow. You rotate those nocks if that arrow's not hitting. You rotate those nocks and shoot those arrows to the
And
paper.
that's something not every average
tuning,
hunter does.
whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
But that arrow doesn't. It's not, and it's something the average hunter. A lot of the average hunters might not notice that, and a great shooter might not notice that an arrow's that far off. But I'm going to find that arrow that's that far off, and I'm not going to shoot it.
Yep.
So it's the same way. The same way with my broadheads. I will not shoot a broadhead at an animal that I have not shot in a target, and I know is dead on. And that's why I choose to shoot thorn broadheads. It's the best practice system in the industry. There's nothing else in the industry that has a better system to practice with your broadheads than thorn. Every arrow in my quiver has been tuned and shot, and I know they hit. And so I'm not going to shoot my practice head that comes in the package or my field points, and I say, well, my broadhead's hit with my field points, so I'm good. No, they don't. You think they do. Let's go out here at 50 yards and shoot all your field points and shoot all your broadheads. I bet they don't hit. You think they do, but I bet they don't. Do they hit a pie plate? They hit a pie plate? Maybe. But do they hit that bottle cap? No.
No,
they do not.
That's a lot of
they won't hit a 10
because they say, "Oh,
they won't hit a 10 ring."
They will not.
Field
so
it doesn't. You got right.
It shouldn't. It's not designed to. It's not designed to. When you take that field point that's that long and unscrew it off your arrow and put that broadhead on there that's that long, you just change the spine of that arrow. You just change the way that arrow is going to react when it comes out of the bow. It's not designed to hit the same. It should not hit the same. I will never trust that.
Yep.
Some people do.
So we've got Dan on now, and he's not experiencing technical difficulty like he was. So we're going to take a break real quick, and then we'll be right back. And I know Dan's got plenty of questions for you, Jeremy.
Okay.
So we'll be right back. This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Apparition Scents, an outdoor and sporting goods company based in Dilliner, Pennsylvania. All of their scents developed and hand bottled with strict attention being paid to every detail. Contact them today at 724-998-7646 or check them out at apparitionscents.com. 100% lethal or your money back guaranteed. Get a hold of them today at 724-998-7646 or check them out at apparitionsense.com. All right, guys, we're back on the limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. We've got Jeremy Jarrett, elite archery pro shooter and member of the U.S. Archery 3D team. And I know this may sound crazy, but as I get teared up when I talk about God and when I talk about our country. I mean, that's two things that are dear to my heart, and it's meaningful. I mean, I just I don't know. I'm a good old West Virginia boy, and I like to drink beer every now and then, but by God, I love my country and I love God. So, Dave, you want to go ahead and we always want to do like we was talking about God there, and Jeremy, I'm sure that you're you believe in God and you're a Christian. We know that, we want to do a scripture of the day every time we do these podcasts. We want to reach out to people. We're on a lot of different networks right now, and we just want to make sure that we give our due diligence when it comes to our country, and when it comes to God. So we want to make sure we do a scripture of the day, and I think Dave's got that ready to go for us.
Absolutely. I got our scripture today, and also just a couple thoughts on it that I've kind of gathered. So it's Joshua chapter 1, verse 9, out of the New Living Translation. And it says, "This is my command, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." And I think that's just an amazing thing. And Jeremy, a lot of the things that you were talking about doing, it takes strength just to be able to really put yourself out there, to do things for kids, to do things for your community. It takes a lot of strength, and I think God can give us strength when it seems like, we're at our weakest even, and especially in our culture, I think there's a lot of times when Christian men are really looked at as being, weak. Well, God's a crutch, all that kind of stuff. But I think when I look back through history, some of the strongest men that you see in history were godly men. Our founding fathers, for instance.
Yeah, definitely.
They were godly men, and I think they had somewhere I read it was like 2% of the population of the country at that time that stood against England, and to be one of those people among that 2%, that took just such a strength, in my mind, and and today, especially us as Christian men, we hold these Christian morals in the face of a world that's values are changing every day. I mean, science doesn't even matter anymore in a lot of places. And anyway, I think when he says be strong and very courageous, I'm like, all right, Lord. I mean, what do you got for us today? Let's be strong. Let's be courageous today. So anyway, I just wanted to say that, Jeremy, just with a lot of the things that you're talking about doing. I mean, even stepping out and competing, that takes courage.
Oh yeah, definitely.